Hello, I'm Joe McDonald, and this is Big Mac's Battle Blogs, the last edition of Big Mac's Battle Blogs from Herson, at least for a while. So, what's been going on? Well, over the last 10 days since I last uploaded, I have completed my leaving paperwork. I'm now a free man, just been given that now. And then on the way back from there, I was like, I'll stop for a coffee at this place I like. And as soon as I got out the car, I heard an old woman say FPV. I didn't hear anything, went and got a coffee. Next thing, one buzzes overhead. So my mate's like, go! And I'm fucking driving at 90 mile an hour through a bunch of little side streets. And then fox, came back round like a fox. And that, so yeah, it's now I feel like I'm on fucking golden time. I'm now officially a free man. So the chances of getting killed, according to filmic narrative, have now gone up. So yeah, I've also been up to Kyiv over the last days. There was a funeral for Swampy, and also Nick was mentioned during the service, who was killed at the same time. Well attended. Good to see one or two faces from the original Legion there, and to meet a bunch of people who have been my supporters that I've not known about and I've never met. So hello to Brian and Brian. Hello to the guys at the Kyiv Post and stuff. So that was cool. Some more organisations that I'm hoping I'm going to be working with over the next period. So yeah, I've also been making a lot of, just having time to think about what I need to do to, in an adult and sensible manner, turn my life from soldier to civilian and volunteer in Ukraine. And I found a place to live in Kyiv. Little cottage in a village outside of Kyiv is all I'm going to say. But it's it's quite funny. I took my mate up there. Who's from Kyiv, knows a lot of people there, so he was a good fixer to have. And the first house we went to look at was in some village that's near the big fucking air base that got missiled the other day in Kyiv. So as we're driving there, we see this smoke on the horizon. I'm like, oh, I wonder if it's been a missile attack, but neither of us had had anything pop up on our news feed, so it's maybe. And we get there and it's not only is it a missile attack, but multiple hypersonic missile attack. And this house is directly on the fucking path from Moscow in front of this airbase. So it's just the sort of place where, you're going to hear regular AA and fighter planes. If you're anywhere near where fighter planes take off from in Ukraine, you're at risk, So I was like, I don't think this is the fucking place, mate. This is, you know what I mean? This is worse than fucking Herson, So that was out. And then we found a really, really fancy house in a really fancy area. A little bit war-torn, but fancy. And, I was like, this seems like, the sort of area that it might make sense to buy property in, because it's lovely, but fucking, little bit, yeah. Don't take your dog for a walk in the forest, not just yet. And he might find something, either something that explodes or something that really used to belong to someone. So, yeah, but then the guy didn't want to rent the house to me because I'm a foreigner, racist prick. And then eventually we found a place. So I'm very happy about that. I've got quite a list of medical issues that need to be tested and examined and diagnosed, and a solution needs to be found of, and some of them may be serious, or it may just be general stress and wear and tear after 2 years of war. And being 40, being 41, being middle-aged, like, it may just all be that. It may just be a case of, I need to become one of these dudes who gets really into fitness in his middle ages. I suppose it's about time. Start drinking fucking juice and stuff like that. If there's a big list of holistic health advice and diet advice in the comments from my supporters, right, just take a minute to think about what you know of me as a person and what I'd say to you in the pub if you started telling me that, maybe like I did this once, right? During COVID, I had terrible fucking toothache and all the fucking shops are shut, right? Because it's COVID. And I wrote online, look, does anyone have a fucking enough amoxicillin that I can put together a course of antibiotics, right, so I can take this pressure, reduce the fucking pressure from this infection inside my mouth, because the doctors were, we're not taking anything. You've basically got to drop down dead of toxic shock before we'll treat you. Fuck you, NHS. Yeah, at the time. And I wrote that on Facebook trying to get some help from my mates. And one of the female friends I had was like, oh, if you can get hold of any like green clay from China, it's really good. It's like, fuck it, green clay from fucking China. It's fucking COVID, right? I mean, if all the shops are shut, where the fuck am I meant to get that? Even the post isn't working properly at this moment in time for stuff that comes from abroad. And it's like, yeah, I'm in like frontline fucking Eastern Europe, and I'm a very practical person. How much time do you think I've got for like fruity little health solutions? Anyway, I digress. Not all natural medicine is bad. For instance, ginger and honey and garlic are definitely good stuff if you've got a cold or a bad stomach. Moving on. So, going to be up at the house in Kyiv, going to be getting my health organised, find out how bad it is, what can be fixed, if anything's really, really bad, those kind of delightful fucking worries we have. I'm going to find out all of them. And then I am going to, make plans based upon that. One of the things I really want to do is finish the first book. That is a pretty realistic, achievable goal. Try and get that done and ready and out for like the end of summer, or, at very worst, at least in time for Christmas. Make outlines for the second book and / third book, which might be a concurrent project, which would be more about me and what I've done, and also one that's more about drone warfare and the air war, a little bit about the tiny air force we have, because it does deserve a mention. Incredibly brave men who fought under the most difficult of circumstances from the start. But the fact that us dronies basically ended up doing what would be in another big NATO army their job, as well as many other roles, and how I see that's been, and that's affected things, because there's already a bunch of cunts writing these kind of books now, and they can all fuck off, basically. So I'm going to write that book, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm going to work on things like that, and I'm also going to enjoy the fact I have a garden to spend time with my dog in. We've been living in an apartment this whole time. And, my choice of walking options are like drive to the edge of the city where it's a bit less shelly, but sometimes, soldiers are a bit like, what the fuck are you doing around here? And you've got to go through that process, or walk around where I live, which is always a bit, how many times can I do this before someone just shoots me in the head, or there's a drone and a fucking artillery strike waiting for me? I mean, I've had stuff land near me when I've been walking the dog. And whether it was aimed at me or it was just fucking pure bad luck, because they're scooting over a shell, because that's what the Russians do. Don't know, So having a garden, being able to spend some time walking around some lakes and some rivers, is going to be good for me. I need to get my fitness back. Like, I mean, I'm not even like an unfit soldier right now. I think like the average fucking office worker who like doesn't smoke heavily would be able to kick my ass. So yeah, need to focus on things like that. I am still, as I said, going to be supporting this unit over the last 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, so whatever it is now, since I decided I was going to quit. I have handed over, well, there was 50,000, no, there was 68,000 hryvnia, which was like the sort of weekly, part of the monthly cost for components and general drone repair / improvement. Then I handed over 28,000 for fucking repair of one vehicle. Mazda, which was the one that we got for Blaugebillen, so parts needed to be ordered for that, and he needed some welding, and I mean, that was we've had that car running for 2 years now. It's not the most sophisticated 4x4, but it's a fucking good little 4x4 pickup, that Mazda. So she needed some love. Good girl. That was her first car I got. Then one of the Hiluxes we got, everything's great about it, but the rear frame needs some welding, and I did know that, but fucking hell, it was quite bad. So, but the whole, to turn that into like a fully strong, it's got another 100,000 miles, 160,000 kilometers in it, vehicle is like costing me $1,000, which is like 44 something thousand hryvnias. So yeah, I think I handed over 45 the other day. So that's being done. And yeah, that's kind of an ongoing thing that I think, even if it's of utmost important to the unit I've been with that sort of thing is at least what we can as a channel and a community, the big Max Battlebog community that you guys are, is something we can maintain. The vehicle repairs, the drone workshops, all that kind of thing, the occasional bit of building up little funds. So like when the 3D printing machine we've got breaks, we can have another one, making sure all the electrical components and stuff that the army don't provide and we have to source from outside are available. That's super important. There's a vast amount of money it takes to move to move the equipment stakes of a drone platoon or company from barely adequate and just coping to actually being able to push things forward and have a bigger impact. It takes a lot of money, and the army give you not enough stuff to do that, and that's why social media and public support for units like mine are so important. It's a big army and a big front. Some eat better than others. That's how it is. And even the fucking fanciest units like Azov or the Airborne do social media as well. It's just down here, right at the far end of Southern Command, there's me. So even though I'm not going to be in the military for the next 6 months, I am staying in Ukraine. I'm going to get my residency sorted out. I'm going to get my health sorted out. I'm going to get the writing sorted out. I'm going to hopefully involve myself more with volunteer work, drive some vehicles, spend some time with Ben the blacksmith, who's been a very busy guy and has some very interesting stuff for us to talk about. And then hell, I might rejoin the military, or it might turn out that the best thing to serve Ukraine, which is ultimately what this is all about, is for me to stay as a civilian and work in some kind of media / fundraising / logistics type role. I also want to go to Kosovo or somewhere else and do my demining qualifications. I'm going to be starting to pre-study for that soon. So if the money has to be raised by me, or hopefully with some help from some organisations or individuals, if someone wants to help me out to pay for my demining qualifications, which is like 15,000 euros, then yeah, I wouldn't mind some help with that. but that's not what I'm asking for right now. You know, the main thing is the unit is paid for and looked after. I'm okay. I've saved up my wages, you know, on Ukraine. If you don't go wild and go on the cocktails every day, is a great fucking place to live modestly, you know. So, you know, I'm okay for that, but perhaps in the future, yeah, I might do a little personal fundraising so I can come back to work in Ukraine or work in other parts of the world that need deminers with the proper qualifications for that, because 15 grand's a lot of fucking money, isn't it? And it's like a few weeks course, and you know, you want to make sure that you actually fucking pass the thing before you pay for that. And if you don't, it's a big old chunk of my wealth that would be. So anyway, you know, that's the sort of thing I'm going to be focusing on over the next couple of months. I might even go and do some, you know, I might do some creative things. I might go and read my poems at a poetry thing in Kyiv somewhere, maybe, you know, try and get an artistic girlfriend once I don't feel like a sick old man who just sweat and cough over anyone who took an interest in me. Yeah, once I don't feel like that, I might try and do something creative with my life again. Might go to a music festival in Europe, try and have a dance, but again, right now I don't think my lungs and my knees really allow me to do that. So anyway, a bit of a ramble, bit of an update, but you know, that's what the situation is. Anyway, here you go, the Big Mac's Battle Blog merch that you will never ever be able to buy. I only have a few left. I will hand them out to people that as I meet them, you know, maybe I'll get some more printed off. Maybe something like merch is something that I'm not actually a soldier. I can like have the time to do now, because going to the fucking post office wouldn't be that many times wouldn't be so unreasonable on my demands. But yeah, you know, that was some merch I got made, and most of the guys in the platoon and guys who help us. The painting is The Last Gunner at Mons. It's a first famous British World War I painting that I had adapted a little bit, and it says "Defend Kherson" at the top. Anyway, it's goodbye from me, Joe McDonald at Big Mac's Battle Blog, and as always, to our pro-Russian and Vatnik listeners, Idina Hoyzalupa.